Hello everyone, welcome back to Forecast, and today's video I'm going to be going through my Premier League predictions for Game Week 25, and I'm going to start off with Leeds United at home to Nottingham Forest, and this is a big game. And if you look at the table right now, Leeds are 6 points clear the drop, and so are Forest. They're both level on points. If Leeds or Forest can win this game, then you would go 9 points clear of West Ham. And that's a good advantage on West Ham going to their game this weekend. If it ends in a draw, then you would each go 7 points clear. Looking at the recent form of the two sides, and look, Leeds have been a lot better since they've switched to the 5 at the back, and Daniel Farke sort of adapted. Now, they did get battered by Arsenal at home, which I think people were surprised to see them get battered that much. But they are still a good side, Leeds United, despite this happening. For Nottingham Forest, Forest have been alright recently, very similar to Leeds in terms of the form. I do think the home factor for Leeds United in this game is going to be crucial. Leeds are a tough side to beat at Ellen Road, and you just don't want to go to Ellen Road. On the home table, they are in 13th place, so they've been playing well at home recently. I think for this result, I can see Leeds picking up at least a point in this game, and it's more about, do I think Leeds can win it? I think they can. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Leeds United, and that will really help them in terms of staying in the division. So then we've got Manchester United at home to Spurs, and United go into this game as heavy favourites. I think that is fair to say. United's form is a lot better right now with 3 wins in a row, and Spurs are struggling despite getting a draw in their last game against Manchester City at home, coming from behind. And I think the key for Spurs in this game is to sit in and make it difficult and then hit United on the break, which I do expect Frank to do, but I think the key is to play on the boot, use your pace on the break. I think you need to let United have the ball, because we haven't actually seen a Carrick side go into a game and look to dominate the ball so far and how they've played. And I don't think they'll be anywhere near as effective when they're having to dominate the ball as they are on the counter-attack. That's what's been so good about the United performances recently, is their ability on the counter. I think you need to force them to do something else and look to break down the opponents. Even against Fulham, United had less of the ball, and United so far this season have struggled when they've had more of the ball. The stats back this up. They've won 1 out of 13 games when they've had more than 50% of the football. So you've just got to let them have the ball. I know that was under Amram, but I still think it's a player issue in terms of breaking down low blocks. So that's, for me, how Spurs need to approach this game. Despite this, though, I'm still going to go with the United win. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Manchester United. So then we've got Bournemouth at home to Aston Villa, and Villa need to get back to winning ways in this game. They were poor in their last game against Brentford. But this is going to be quite a difficult game because Bournemouth are now back in good form. They haven't lost in their last 5 and have won 3 out of their last 5. They weren't good against Wolves, I think that's fair to say, away from home, but they still found a way to win 2-0. So I expect them to cause Villa problems in this game, and I think this is going to be quite a good game to watch. 2 good sides to watch in the league, and they're both very dangerous on the counter-attack. I think for this game I might go with a high-scoring draw. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw between Bournemouth and Villa. I think the first goal in this game might be quite important, because recently when Villa have gone 1-0 down, they've struggled to break down the opposition. We've seen this against Brentford and Everton. So then we're on to Arsenal at home to Sunderland, and there are some injury concerns for Arsenal. Odegaard is potentially out, and so is Saka. And look, this could cause Arsenal some problems in terms of selection, but they've still got a lot of quality to turn to with the likes of Eze and Madueke. And they actually played really well against Leeds without Odegaard and Saka. And look, Sunderland will make it difficult. I don't think it will be a walkover game, but I still think Arsenal should be able to pick up a win. Granit Xhaka is also out for this game, which is crucial, because when Granit Xhaka plays, Sunderland are a completely different side. Sunderland did look better against Burnley, but when you play Arsenal, it's a completely different ballgame. And for that reason, I am going to go with the Arsenal win. I think I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Arsenal. I think they'll get the early goal, and then they'll find a late goal to win the game and to confirm the 3 points. So then we're on to Burnley at home to West Ham. And I mean, this is absolutely crucial for West Ham. They must win this game. And I mean, this also applies to Burnley, but I have considered them relegated now. They're just too far off it. They're 11 points behind Forest, and they've shown no ambition to stay up. West Ham have shown some ambition to stay up. Will it work? I'm not so sure. And they're 6 points behind Forest. and I feel that West Ham must win this game. In terms of the form of the two sides, Burnley aren't actually too bad. They did just lose 3-0 to Sunderland, but then they picked up a point against Spurs, a point against Burnley, a point against Manchester United. The point against United was under Fletcher, so it wasn't sort of the same Manchester United. But it's still some signs that potentially Burnley can cause West Ham some problems in this game and maybe take something from it. For West Ham have improved under Nuno recently. They did just lose 3-2 to Chelsea, which was disappointing considering they were 2-0 up at half-time. But then they won against Sunderland and they won against Spurs away from home. So there might be some belief going into this game, but I think I'm going to go with the draw. I think I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between Burnley and West Ham. It just feels like a classic sort of draw game. Both sides need to win, and then it ends in a 1-1 draw. So then we're on to Fulham at home to Everton, and Fulham are in 9th place going into this game. Everton are in 10th place, and overall you would say that's 2 good seasons for both sides. Neither side is worried about relegation, and there is still a chance of European football, which would be great for either of these sides. And Fulham haven't lost in their last 4 at home, including picking up a point against Liverpool, 3 points against Chelsea, and 3 points against Brighton in the last minute. So they are a difficult side to beat at home. Equally, Everton, though, have got a very good away record this season. They're 6th place on the away table. And Everton, in general, are a very hard side to predict. They turn up in the games you don't expect them to, and they can be poor in the games where you'd say Everton have more of a chance of winning. I think for this game, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Fulham. So then we've got Wolves at home to Chelsea. Everyone knows Wolves are relegated, and they're just sort of playing for spoilers at this point. In terms of Chelsea need to keep picking up points to get into the Champions League for next season, which would have been minimum expectations at the start of the season. And if you looked at the fixtures, this would have been a game where you would have said Chelsea absolutely have to win the game. And I think they will win this game. Their form's not too bad going into this game, and they've been rather impressive recently. They did just go out of the cup, though, to Arsenal, but then they won against West Ham from behind. They won away in Naples. They won away at Crystal Palace. So they've got some good results recently. In terms of Wolves recently have been quite good, and they probably should have got something from the Bournemouth game, but they just couldn't put the ball into the back of the net. I think for this game, I'm going to go with 3-0 away win for Chelsea. I think this is going to be comfortable. So then we've got Newcastle at home to Brentford, and Newcastle need to win this game to put a decent push for Champions League football. They're actually currently below Brentford in the table. They're 3 points below Brentford, and they are 8 points away from top 4. They're coming off some poor results in the league. They lost away at Liverpool 4-1, then they lost at home to Villa 2-0, and then they had a 0-0 draw with Wolves away from home, bottom of the league. And they look really tired right now, do Newcastle. And I assume they'll throw everything at the League Cup semi-final, second leg. So that means that for this game, they'll be even more tired. And this may allow Brentford to win this game. The problem for Brentford is that they don't have the same sort of pace in the break without Kevin Schade, which would have been really useful in a game like this. Because I assume Brentford will force Newcastle to try and break them down. And this is what I would do, because Newcastle aren't a great side when it comes to breaking down low blocks. And Bruno G may still be out for this game. I assume he is available, though, as he looks close to coming back. I think for this game, we're going to get a really good game, actually. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw between Newcastle and Brentford. So then we've got Brighton at home to Crystal Palace. This is considered a derby for both of these sides, and both sides will be thinking they need a win to get this season back up and running, because they've been poor recently, have both of these teams. Crystal Palace have been especially poor with some poor results. For example, the Forest game, they needed to win that game considering that Forest had 10 men for the whole of the second half. They lost away at Sunderland, lost to Chelsea, lost to Macclesfield in the Cup, which was astonishing. And they drew to Aston Villa, which isn't too bad of a result, but overall they're just not playing very well. They're struggling to put the ball into the back of the net. They'll be hoping this will improve now with the signing of Jurgen Strand-Larsen. For Brighton, they draw a lot of games 1-1. They've drawn 3 out of their last 5 games 1-1, and the other game they lost 2-1, and then the other game was a 2-1 win against United in the Cup. I think this looks like a stalemate in this game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. 2 very similar sides in terms of the fact that they can't put the ball in the back of the net. And in the past, this has been a very common scoreline, a ball draw between these two sides. So then we've got Liverpool at home to Manchester City. And I would say this is an absolute must-win for City in terms of winning the title. for Liverpool, they're not part of the title race, and it's all about just trying to ensure that they still get into that top 5, which is in doubt because Liverpool are currently in 6th place in the league. Both sides aren't playing particularly well right now, and especially in the defence. But both sides have a couple of inform attackers. For City, you've got Antoine Semenyo, who's playing really well right now, but at the same time, Erling Haaland is really struggling. And for Liverpool, you've got Wirtz and Ekitike, which are combining brilliantly together. But Mo Salah has been poor all season. Both sides have struggled in the Premier League recently. Liverpool only winning 1 of their last 6, and City have only won 1 game in 2026. So I don't really know what to expect. I think all 3 results are definitely possible for this game. What I would say is I think this game does suit Liverpool quite a lot. When teams have looked to match Liverpool so far this season, especially at Anfield, Liverpool have often found a way to win the game. For example, Villa looked to match Liverpool, Real Madrid looked to match Liverpool, and Liverpool managed to pick up 2 wins in those games. In the past, Liverpool have dealt with Haaland quite well, so that should give Liverpool some confidence going into this game. I think for this reason, I'm going to go with a Liverpool win. I'm expecting quite a few goals in this game, so I'm going to go with a 3-2 win for Liverpool over Manchester City. Let me know your thoughts on these Premier League predictions, and if you enjoy this video, it'd be great if you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as liking the video.